Hey, how you guys doing? It's the producer from Brothers Comics. Welcome to the Marvel Hacks. We are going to talk DC, y'all. Yes, we know this is a Marvel Hacks podcast, but the DC Extended Universe, or the WB, decided to make an announcement a couple of weeks ago now by their new creative team. So we're going to talk about the projects that they have listed. We're going to talk about if that's something that we would be excited to see, thumbs up, or we're just like, you know what, I've been hurt before, and I don't want to be hurt again by DC, which is probably where we're leaning into. On the line tonight, it's noted DC shoulder shrugger. It's Brother Beavis. What's happening to me?
Hey, what's up? I
Yeah,
guess.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, if you've listened to older versions of this podcast, there were times when we would do, I think it was the Thursday night comic book show. It might have been the Marvel Hacks at that point, but where we would do like a Marvel book a week, then like a kind of a classic series, and then a DC book a week. And then Brother Reeves would actually just take time off from that part of the podcast. So Sandman and I would talk about the DC book, and then we would just bring him back in when we were done talking.
Or just
So yeah,
peruse the internet or go take
yeah,
a break
yeah,
or
yeah, exactly.
refresh my drink,
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah, we didn't pull him in too much. But for this, since it's a kind of a different medium, again, we are the Marvel hacks. We tend to lean towards Marvel stuff, but neither one of us is like, oh, fuck DC. We don't want them to be successful. That's not true. If DC is successful with their comics and or movies, it would make Marvel step up their game to be more successful, and then we can have two things good at the same time, and that's everybody benefits from that. It's just that DC over this course of time has not been holding up their end of the bargain. And we've seen the majority of the movies, right, Brother Beavis? You've seen most of them.
Trying to think of any I haven't because I watched Black Adam,
Yeah, or
unfortunately.
us. Reviewing the
Um,
archives.
Shazam, Justice League. I did not watch the Snyder cut. I
Mm.
haven't seen the new Batman movie.
No, I
Um,
haven't. Not either. Did you
I
see
heard
the
it's
Joker?
good. It's just like my watching style for something like that is I'm gonna put it on and do something else, and it's
Mm.
too like dark and atmospheric to like absorb it while doing anything else. But yeah, I mean, I think I've seen there may be something. I've seen Green Lantern.
Yeah,
I did not see all of Wonder Woman 84 because that was
it's
some
bad.
bullshit. Yeah,
Mm.
but yeah, I seen and then the interesting part about I mean, I think we'll get here, but like I haven't seen anywhere near all of the animated stuff,
Mm.
of the movies, but all the ones I've seen have been really good. There's a certain subset of them I have to put on like the perma ban list
Mm.
because they have an individual we're going to talk about is a
Yeah,
big fan of that I can't fuck
yeah,
with in the
yeah.
least.
And the least, yeah, it's coming up
Um,
here soon.
and obviously, like the Justice League after season one and JLU is, I think we honestly put that up there with Avengers: Earth Mightiest Heroes.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
great.
so yeah, not at all like there's no way you can put any of this in front of me and I'm just going to shit on it.
Yeah.
But we have been hurt before.
Yes, we have definitely been hurt before. I saw Wonder Woman live and when it came out. I saw Justice League live when it came out. I saw the Sandman three timer. What's that? Batman versus Superman. I
Yeah,
saw that when it came out. Like,
BVS.
I mean, yeah, I saw all of these movies live and in color. I saw Shazam. Like, I've seen all of these movies. They're just not good. I saw Aquaman in the theater as well. Like, they're just not good. That's the problem. Or they're inconsistent to say the least. And I even sat through the Snyder cut on HBO Max. So like I think I'm fully caught up. But DC obviously with the new, my note says the backstory here was a Discovery purchased the WB and all the IPs, and then they were like, we're gonna make some cuts here, primarily for money, more than likely, but just trying to, kind of streamline types of things. And so the comics and especially the movies have been under reevaluation, especially since Black Adam failed.
Mm.
They put a lot of money into that and a lot of promotion into it. It was ass awful. Again, the review is in the archives, y'all. We saw it. It's bad, bad too. And everything that flew out of that. So they hired two new people. Was it James Gunn, director of Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy, and Peter Safran, who I don't know who that is. And that they made those two their Kevin Feige. So they're going to construct this new universe of DC, to kind of have it streamlined in one direction. But it's really like that's Cap too, and we'll get to that in a second. It's a big old lie. And so they scrap some things. So there's not the Batgirl movie that they had finished and in the can. They just killed. Like they're not even going to release it. It's going to be something that you're going to be discover at cons, like in the dark room somewhere. Wonder Woman 3, no, out. No more Wonder Woman 3, no Black Adam 2, Superman Part 2, where you bring back Henry Cavill. No, that's out too. Like they cut a whole bunch of stuff, and then they allowed these two dudes to are going to create this new universe that is the new DC extended universe. Even though there's a couple of movies that are still floating out there, Flash being one of them, Blue Beetle,
But
and then
we are
Shazam
getting
2, which
Aquaman
comes out next week.
2, right? Or
And
did that already?
Aquaman 2. Yeah, and Aquaman 2.
Yeah.
No, they're going to
Yeah.
release that coming. I think that comes out in like Christmas time ish this year. So, yeah, so you still have those or four movies out there: Shazam 2, The Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman 2. But really, those are kind of just hanger ons that they couldn't get rid of. And then these new movies now are going to be the reset point. And I think a lot of the reset point is going to be from the Flash movie that's coming
Did
out.
you say Shazam Fury? Shazam 2? Did you throw that in?
I did
All right.
say Shazam. Yeah, I'm not going to see that though. Yeah,
That
I'm gonna pass
no,
on that.
I have seen that, but that is definitely a wait till it comes on in my house for free.
Yeah. Mm. Side brother topic. I don't know if you saw the internet scuttlebutt
Yeah,
the other day about Zach leaving,
yeah,
that he might be a terrible person.
yeah.
I was not anticipating that at all. But yeah, not a good look, especially when you have a movie coming out no more. Anyway, all right. So this new era is going to be called Gods and Monsters. I'm assuming this is their phase one to interconnect the universe. So we're going to go through the projects, the TV projects first, kind of give our thoughts about what that looks like, and then the film projects next. From there. All right. So let me see if I got all of my notes in. That's it. All right. So here we go. All right. Project number one, y'all. It is Creature Commandos. All right. Seems like a Suicide Squad, Guardians of the Galaxy type of situation. It's going to be a TV show. What do you think, Brother Beavis? Because I have no idea what this is or
Yeah,
who any of these
so
people are.
you're yeah, I think this is almost like potentially a cross between Suicide Squad and what is that bullshit? The one with like Tom Sawyer and Alan Quartermain and
Oh,
Doctor.
the League of Extraordinary
Yeah,
Gentlemen.
it's
Yeah.
almost like a cross with that with like zombie flavor in World War II.
Mm.
So I have no knowledge. I've never met Creature Commandos. I don't know why you would say I've raped Creature Commando if they're clearly not my type. No, I'm more than willing to put this in the category of put creative people behind it, and you can tell a good story with anything. But I
Right.
have no bias or no awareness of any of this. But it does very much seem derivative of a Suicide Squad, and I think there's a lot of reason for optimism, and I like a lot of things that have come out so far. But
Yeah.
my one concern, one concern I'll start with is in the same way that the MCU has like gotten Whedonized and all the quips and whatnot,
Mm.
I've not seen James Gunn make another kind of movie.
Mm.
So if James Gunn is going
Yeah.
to make a bunch of movies just with different people, then I'm not sure this fills a niche that Suicide Squad hasn't already. But
Right.
the the first thing I'll say though is we've talked about the DC animated universe being a strength of DC relative to Marvel. The
Mm.
fact that they're posing all of this, the combined like the cartoons, the
Mm-hmm.
live action, the TV, the movies, and also really tying in modern comics and putting everything together. That is what Marvel has never done because
Right.
they've disavowed most of the TV unless they have control of it. They've actively shit on the comics,
Mm-hmm.
um, particularly if they don't have control of it. So the idea to tell this sort of multimedia story, and I think that's great. And I'll also say like we've talked about like what is DC gonna do? that isn't just derivative of what Marvel has done, or trying to stitch those classic characters together and tell stories. So jumping in with something that I'm assuming most people don't know, that's not a bad opening move.
Right. And again, I don't have the specific notes on this or whatever. Like, is this a live action or is this a cartoon? Because
This
he
one's
did
a
say
cartoon.
this
This
is a
one is
cartoon because he
animated.
said in his article or the announcement that they did that they were going to use the voice actors
Mm-hmm.
as into the movies when it goes to live action, which is
Right.
something that you've been calling for the longest time. Like, hey, you could make a Fantastic Four
Exactly.
movie in at a cartoon version or an
Right.
animated version, and then move that over, and to have to not have to tell, a negative zone story or try to tell a negative zone story in real time, whereas you could have told it in animation. So I do think that's a positive for them, recognizing that that's something that they could do. Okay.
Yeah, totally agree. Because there's certain stories that you could do okay, but like when you get to a certain threshold of CGI,
Yeah.
and realistically, there's almost nothing we watch now that isn't just covered in CGI, and
Correct.
Quantumania is going to be.
I got my tickets. I'm ready for Wednesday or
Yeah, I got to
Thursday.
get mine. Rip,
Yeah.
rip,
Yeah.
ghetto theater.
Yes, that's
Um,
right.
but yeah, no, I there without any knowledge of this, there's nothing about this part of the announcement that turns me off, because it's like, okay, you made your cartoon part of the canon. You're digging into stuff that we're not familiar with to tell stories.
Hmm.
Okay, bring it. But
Yeah.
but if it becomes Suicide Squad with kind of zombie looking historical features with the
Mm.
same sort of narrative, then I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It becomes been there, done that a little bit too. Okay. Project 2. Waller, y'all. Is this also a cartoon?
I don't.
I think
Uh,
this is legit.
I think it
This
would
is a,
have to be.
yeah, this is Waller, Viola Davis coming back to at least voice this project about the lady who controls the Suicide Squad. She's got all kinds of dirt on the Justice League, Batman, like all of this. Excuse me, all this stuff. I mean, okay, I guess I'm not opposed to it or whatever. Viola Davis is good in everything she does. Like, period. She's going to elevate whatever crappy material that you give her. But a show again, when you have a non-powered superhero show, it always becomes goofy, man. Like, it just does. Like, oh yeah, let me see this show on freaking his Batman's butler. Fuck, nobody wants to watch that. Only watch Gotham, where the hero, where you just tiptoe around the heroes or the villains, and then you're focusing on the people in the lives that are not those folks. I don't mess with that kind of stuff.
Well, but the other thing too, like, she did the job in Suicide Squad.
Did she?
She did
I
the
didn't see the
job in
second one.
Suicide
Did you?
Squad 2. She
Oh,
did the
okay.
job in Peacemaker.
Wait, you've
So,
watched all of that?
yeah,
Oh,
Peacemaker is so a good friend of mine was like, "Hey, you need to watch Peacemaker." I was like, "Fuck
you
that
shut
DC
your
bullshit." He's like, "No,
yeah.
it's like all 80s theme rock." I was like, "Oh,
Mm,
for real?"
oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, I have watched that. And it's over, it's
Okay.
like Deadpool meets Suicide Squad, realistically.
Mm, okay.
But she is set as this all-powerful mover and shaker, but like everybody she puts out there gets over on her by the end of her movie. So
Hmm.
she's got some
Yeah.
rehabilitation. She might have to go away and learn a new hold, as we might say. So I don't know. But
Yeah.
again,
Mm,
this is better than telling me another Batman story. This is
you got that right.
so bring it. I'm with this for now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably rank Waller ahead of Suicide or of Creature Commandos, even as a cartoon. That's probably not something I'd be getting into. It, y'all know this is usually a three-person podcast. The next project, there is a certain person that is not on this project today who loves Booster Gold. And Hutch is not here to defend this bullshit. Booster Gold is a terrible character. But
Well, I'll
it's a
jump in.
terrible character on purpose. And see, there's a difference though.
Yeah.
He's a terrible character on purpose, which makes him interesting, but also still terrible. And so to try to ride that line, it the needle to thread to have a successful Booster Gold project is so narrow because it could go south so quickly. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm concerned about.
Have we expand the window to anything that you would label as a comic book movie? Have we Is there a Booster Gold analog of like the just the inept douchebag who has to pull it together by the end? Which
Yeah.
I guess maybe Peacemaker a little bit if you've seen
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that the image on the side there is that from the Greatest Story Never Told, which is one of the
Hmm.
phenomenal
One of the
JLU
great ones. Yeah. Hmm.
episodes. And again, give me this over Aquaman 3, right?
Really?
Because we haven't seen it.
No. Okay. Yeah. It would be new, but
Give me this over Shazam 2.
that's fine. But and again, as if you're watching on YouTube, the picture that we have up is of when Donald Faison played Booster Gold on some television show. Not really sure which one it was, and nor do I care. And it could be fake news for all I know, especially since he has a golf freaking tee in his ear. But it doesn't matter. Like the character's just it's so goofy and weird and bad. You really gonna have to be the casting would have to be perfect, the writing, like it's just to restart your universe. Booster Gold would not be one of my initial projects because it's so difficult. It would have been like starting, even though he's much more popular, but it would have been like starting with Deadpool.
But I think so. I'm not sure we have the timeline correct here. So I'm not sure
Yeah, what's
what the
coming
order
first?
of debut. For example, Creature Commandos will release prior to Superman Legacy. Yeah, so I'm
Superman
not sure.
Legacies. Superman Legacies in like July of 25,
Yeah,
allegedly. Which none of this is going to happen on this timeline. Not a
yeah.
chance in
So
hell.
I think Booster Gold. I think Donald Faison as Booster Gold might have been in Legends of Tomorrow, which
Okay,
was the other WB series, but
awful.
I was out by then.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So again, like Hutch could defend Booster Gold to the end of the world. I understand
I
what you're
thought he
saying.
hated him.
No, he likes Booster Gold. No, he does. He hates Deadpool, but he
Hmm.
loves Booster Gold.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awful. Okay, the only project that I am excited about is the next television project, which is the Lanterns. I hate the fact that they made it both John Stewart and Hal Jordan, though. Don't like that part because, again, y'all don't have no black heroes except Cyborg. You could have just made John Stewart freaking the Green Lantern and covered two bases with one stone, essentially. And you didn't do it because you had to throw Hal Jordan's freaking sorry ass in there. But I'm still excited about it. I like Green Lantern, not the movie obviously that they made, but like I just the idea of Green Lantern. I like the intergalactic part. I like. Is this a cartoon or live action? All the TV
Um,
things, freaking cartoons.
it's a TV. Unclear.
Mm, okay.
It's a TV series, but
Okay.
um, so yeah, Green Lantern is by far the most underserved of the classic DC Justice League characters up to this point.
Yeah.
Because they kind of screwed that pooch. And so it's
Definitely.
interesting to jump right from Green Lantern into the Green Lantern Corps, and then that's where you sort of get this. Well, John Stewart isn't going to stand out from amongst. Is he going to stand out from the Corps because he's different than a
Mm,
Hal Jordan? And then so yeah, I also am very interested in this because they haven't trod this ground, and but it kind of depends on how they pull it off. And
yeah.
a Green Lantern, a John Stewart Green Lantern is different than a Hal Jordan Green Lantern story. And
Sure.
so, how do you pull all these things together? And he is a little bit of a I can do anything with my ring except like fight the color yellow. So there's
Yeah,
some
and pencils.
hokiness to it. But
I think when James Gunn described it, oh God, I'm sure. Well, maybe I don't know you as well as I think I do. I'm gonna assume that you hated it, but I could be wrong. Um, he was saying that it's gonna be like not a buddy cop, but like a
mm,
cop drama, like that one that was on HBO for a few years. I think the first year was like Woody Harrelson and Damn it.
Oh, True Detective.
True Detective. Yeah, it was going to be
Yeah.
like a True Detective story.
Yeah,
But
I continue without having ever seen that. So,
okay, side brother topic. Okay, so Alexandra Daddario is in the first episode of that, and yeah, just yeah. Also, in White Lotus, she is also that a couple of times. Just saying. Just saying. Yeah, no problems with that part. So if you put Alexandra Daddario in this, I will watch every episode of it. Well, this one I'll probably watch anyway. But yeah, I'm interested in the Lanterns. I think that would actually be kind of interesting. They could, with the money proper, you could do a lot with those powers with those two. But if this is just them only, doing detective work intergalactically and only using their
yeah.
powers every once and then, that I have no interest in seeing that.
But and the irony too is like John Stewart was kind of made
Yeah,
it a little more street level. But so you have on the one hand you have like the classic Green Lantern versus or not versus but Green Lantern Green Arrow, that dichotomy of those two characters. And so you're almost trying to draw that out, but if you put it in space where the Lantern Corps, if you're going to do Lantern Corps, it's got to be like more in space, which isn't really what you know then this combination doesn't make as much sense.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm curious as to that part. Like, where are you setting this? Where is it going to be? And again, but to be fair, this should probably be a movie. I know they screwed the pooch on the first one. Like, I
mhm.
totally get that part, but like, this should probably be a movie, just a better directed and written movie. Just, I mean, like, he is essentially one of the original members of the
Yeah.
Justice League, and everybody in that group has a movie except Green Lantern,
Do you
right?
think what is his name? Cairo the sidekick makes a debut?
Yeah, probably not. Nooch. Let's jump to the movies, y'all. So those are your
Wait,
television projects.
there's one more, right?
Did I miss one?
Paradise Lost.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. That is right. I'm sorry.
So
Paradise Lost.
Wikipedia is telling me this Gunn compared the story of the show and its setting to
Game of
Westeros in the
Thrones.
series
Yeah.
of Game of Thrones, and I was
Mm.
like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
No, the scars run deep.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, you're pulling on two threads there. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be something like on Themyscira. I can't pronounce that. That, a non Wonder Woman show about the island where Wonder Woman is from and a Game of Thrones like setting. So lady on lady violence. Okay. That's new because you don't see that. Like, I'm okay with that part of it. But where are you going with this? Because nobody cares about anybody else on that island except Wonder Woman. Period.
And if it's, I mean, if it's retro, like if it's what was going on behind the scenes or in the
Mm,
past or whatever, but like, yeah, what does it set up? It's
right.
just, I mean, does it, do we lose Wonder Woman at some point? And
Mm.
this is the way we introduce a new Wonder Woman down the line, which we've done. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like, again, it's some different choices here. Like, it's just some different choices, and I get that. Like, you're trying to be different, and look, to be fair, DC really has an opportunity here, and I think we said this maybe 2 years ago after Endgame. Like, DC really has an opportunity here to get their share of the
Hmm.
market. Like, this is your chance. This is it. Like, you need to jump in, and again, we've enjoyed some of the stuff post Endgame, but to be fair, the MCU stuff has been radically inconsistent since Endgame. There's been some highs, there's been some super lows that didn't really even exist in the original phases. And so now, with the market down, with MCU down, there is a chance for a new contender.
Yeah.
But you have to be, because of your history and your past, you have to be on top of your shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is that, to be fair.
Well, I mean, so I want to jump back. So phase four, whatever, like they, in my, from what I see from clearly the outside looking in, they made the decision like we need to make this world bigger,
Mm,
and so they just threw everything out there. And I think a lot of the quality was impacted by the pandemic and everything that was
mhm,
going on. Phase 4 could have been better with the same lineup, but I think it had some limitations. But it
Right.
was clearly a holding pattern to get us to what we're now told is everything's going to pick up again.
Hmm.
But for this, like DC very clearly can't do a Batman and a Superman and a Wonder Woman and then a Justice League again. They cannot do
Mm.
something that is going to appear derivative of what Marvel did successfully
Right.
12 years ago or
Hmm.
12 or more years ago. So, we've talked about like, is it Flashpoint, is it Crisis, is it whatever that like sort of brings it all together, breaks it up, and then throws it back out. And so maybe they do some of that because we still don't know like what the Flash movie is going to bring us, and that could be the
Yeah.
linchpin that starts this whole thing off. But yeah, I don't know. But there's definitely like some classics and some mixed in
Yeah.
here, and it's they're not doing what Marvel did. You
No.
got to say that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's yeah. But you
And
just
also,
gotta
I'll say it
you
again,
gotta
like
think.
to recognize that we can tell stories in the theater, we can tell stories on TV, we can
Hmm.
tell animated stories, we can tell animated stories in theater, we can
All
tell animated
interconnected.
stories in DVD, we can tell stories in the comic books. That is brilliant. And
Hmm.
I don't know, you probably saw this, but like they after the announcement, like the top selling books are all sort of stemming from these. Like people are
Hmm.
trying to figure this out.
Hmm.
And the idea that because we talk about like the people involved in this, they value the comics, they have reverence to comic books. James Gunn, whatever else you want to say about him, did something that positively impacted the economic bottom line of the DC comics industry, which is
Hmm.
desperately needed.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
nothing else, like maybe this whole thing falls apart, but the comics got a little boost in a much needed way for the first time in a long time, and that's
Hmm.
great.
Yeah. You're right because they're having to overcorrect because of the problems with the Snyderverse, so they have to kind of go like a completely different direction. Like I get that part, I really, really do, and they should be applauded for taking a chance. I just how many times have we talked about oh this upcoming DC project that never happens?
Mhm.
Like it just doesn't. At this WB Discovery or whatever, like who knows because of their cost cutting, penny pinching, whatever. Like like
But they
oh
also have
it's
not had a book boss, and
yeah,
James Gunn is
that's
postured as
fair.
the book boss.
But to be fair, the first time that Creature Commandos or whatever the comes out and it doesn't,
Mhm.
get to whatever imaginary or whatever number that they have set, everything becomes suspect.
Yeah.
And I mean everything. The only things that are not suspect we're going to get to here in the film part here momentarily. All right, so let's jump into the films that these are easier. First up, Superman Legacy. Your favorite artist drew that
I was gonna
picture
say
here.
immediate disqualification on the grounds of association with Frank Wiley. Somebody I was talking to somebody about the X-Men, they brought up that era. I'm like, "Yeah, that's when I stopped reading comics."
Yeah, I can't be friends with you anymore.
Golly.
Yeah.
And look, I mean,
So
like,
they
look, very talented. Better than anything I could ever do. But
yeah,
golly,
but
there's something about that I can't get
yeah,
behind.
it's weird. Yeah, so they've gone to cast a young Superman. It's supposed to come out in July of 25. I guarantee, I guarantee that date gets moved completely because none of these things come out when it's. I mean, there's nobody's been cast. The script isn't done. I think they haven't even decided who's going to be the director. It seems like it's going to be Gunn, but this just seems like just like an ambitious point to try to get to at this point in time because we're already in what March essentially of 23. You're gonna turn this movie around in less than 2 years essentially. That's not happening. So
Well, the you know, this say I don't know if this is the right way to express it, but it's an interesting thing, the dominant role that Superman plays in the DC universe.
mhm.
Like you almost have to like figure out, okay, where is Superman and what is Superman doing
What's his
in
role in this?
with everything else in the background. And I'm trying to think, there's not really that analog in Marvel. Like as
Mhm.
much as Superman is can be the boring Boy Scoutish character, like he is whether it's gravity or the hook, the storyline, he is the center of so many things in a lot of ways. So it's, I mean, you got to figure out a way to do him, but at the same time, then he's so overpowered. He dwarfs everybody, but he's got to be in the story. It's this really bizarre thing to me.
But they also, I mean, again, the Snyderverse essentially messed. It was bad from the beginning for a lot of different reasons,
Mm,
but a lot of people will say, the characterization of Clark slash Superman was messed up from the jump, which is why
mm,
it wasn't successful.
mm,
You created a moody Batman
mm.
esque character for the character who is light and, is meant to be light. He is the light, and you kind of turned him dark for no apparent reason,
He's not the
you
knight.
know? Yes, exactly. And so again, you're walking that thin line like Captain America in MCU is like, man, this character could come off mad corny if you fuck it up. So you have to again thread that line of like, man, is this like, yes, he is the Boy Scout. Yes, he's a good person. He's also super powerful. He can kick the shit out of every single person that he fights if he wanted to, but he doesn't because he knows how powerful he is. And I just think that I don't know, like just finding that out. But yeah, a younger Superman and not going with Henry Cavill or whatever. Who I thought, I mean, again, as shitty as those movies are, he's great in those movies. Like he's great in Man of Steel. Like him himself is great. The rest of it is you could all throw it out. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
like him.
I haven't seen enough to know, but I wonder if there's uh, who's the second Spider-Man dude? Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield.
He was a fine Spider-Man and a terrible Peter Parker. So I don't know
Yeah,
if Henry Cavill ever got to be Clark Kent.
yeah. Well, it trends on freaking Twitter every once and then about him allowing Paul Kent to die when he could have saved him. Like it's just, it's just wait, don't
Yeah.
come and save me. Just let me die.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
that
awful.
was that
Yeah,
was yeah, that was
yeah,
I was when I saw that I was like, "Oh yeah, remember when Superman had Spider-Man's origin story?"
yeah. And
That's right.
remember when he let his freaking one person die because his father told him to, or he could have sped in there and saved him, and nobody
He
would know.
could have
Nah,
just flown around the earth in the opposite direction, turned time back and saved
yeah,
him.
nooch,
That's the thing, right?
nooch. All right, it is. All right, next up. Okay, so again, once again, missing Hutch because Brother Beavis and I have no authority to talk about the Wildstorm universe. So Wildstorm is Jim Lee's imprint, correct?
Sounds right because then Brandon
Yeah,
Choi was under that as the one, right?
yeah.
Did he make
So
Wildstorm or
I think Wildstorm is Wildstorm a book or just the imprint? I thought
DC's
Wildstorm is the
Wildstorm
imprint.
imprint and then
Yeah, I think
yeah,
that's
Wildcats and Stormwatch. Yeah, it
yeah.
was
So this is Jim Lee's group that had that
yeah.
separate imprint or whatever. Okay,
This was
I
like, oh, we kind of would like to be part of a publisher because I really don't want to do this. I'd rather create characters and then make money off of them, even though that
correct,
was what I was upset about in the first place.
correct. That's why I left. But by the way.
But yeah, that it turns out that's actually a sweet deal if I can get it. So write
Mhm.
my books, bitch. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, I'm going to become the slave becomes the oppressor. Um, so I don't know anything about these books other than the fact that it's supposed to be raunchy, dirty, lots of
Yeah.
killing, blah 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 blah. I mean, if that's the kind of thing you're into, that's the kind of thing that you'll be into. To kind of paraphrase Cornette, like this is not for me. Like I don't need. Okay, I get enough of this from like you're making a movie about this. Tell me it's going to be better than The Boys, which I get for free
Mm.
on Amazon Prime. Tell me, like, because
Yeah.
that's what you're going for. But if you're not going to do it better, then what are we doing here?
I mean,
Because
so
there's no point.
I didn't connect the raunchy side of it. My going in assumption was this is akin to the Justice Lord's
Mm.
storyline of the ultra powerful characters who try and like control society. But you want to put that spin on it, yeah. And I'll add this to it: if it's better than the boys, how is it going to last 2 seasons? Because the boys was played out after 1 season.
Hey, come on. I need a 20. I need a 20. Yes,
You
season
can
two
have
of
a
The Boys.
full.
Okay, it's fine. I need a full timeout. season 2 of The Boys, I can totally understand why you whatever. But you still haven't gone back and watched season 3, which of it is pretty friggin' amazing. So that's all I got to say. That's all. That's all I'm
So
saying.
you're telling me this is a Wire situation where I need to not watch what's going on down by the harbor, go see the continuation of the first story arc, and then eventually I can go back and appreciate season 2 because somebody gets like instead of jizz gets laser shot on their tits.
Hi, hello. Uh, I'm black, and please revoke my black card that I have not ever watched The Wire. Sorry. Please revoke it. Send it back to me whenever I get a chance. But yeah,
Oh.
no. I know. I know. I am a bad black. But I have not seen it. But yeah, well, again, that becomes one of those things, man, where I gotta watch it with somebody that would want to watch it who ain't gonna want to watch it. So it just doesn't happen. So just turn on reruns
Well,
every
as much
often.
as your kids have gotten into all this other
That's fair.
objectionable
That's
material,
fair.
you need to turn them on that.
Side road topic. So female perspective and gone from us. What we're coming up on 3 or 4 years now.
Wow.
So before that, there was this thing called Con of Thrones. That was going to be in some part of Tennessee, whatever. China, some of these close enough to Atlanta that could have been driven to or whatever. And we had already moved, obviously, but I had applied for a media press for that. They were like, "Yeah, absolutely, come, whatever, for sure. Here, 2 freaking free tickets." I'm like, "Bet." I was like, "All right, I'm going to pick up Hutch. We're going to go over there." Unfortunately, she passed away or whatever, so I didn't get a chance to go. Then COVID, so then they hadn't had it. Yada yada yada. So this year they're bringing it back. It's going to be in Orlando, which is a 2-hour drive for me or whatever. Not, your nephew was like, "I'm not doing cons anymore. I'm not a part of that life." Blah 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 blah. So I'm like, "Hey man, there's going to be a Game of Thrones con in Orlando." He was like, "I'd go to that." So I was like, "Hold up though." He was like, but he's thinking like freaking, Cersei and freaking like real major stars are gonna be there. I'm like, hold on, buddy. And just slow your brakes there a little bit. Like I think the last one had like Braun, but Jamie Lannister was there too. So like I mean, that's a pretty big star, but you're not getting freaking those people. But anyway, back to this.
What's her name? Shit.
Sansa. You're not getting Sansa.
No, I wasn't even thinking that. I was thinking like Marjorie
Look.
Tyrell.
Oh, well, if her or Roz show up to this, I will send you a ticket.
Oh shit, Roz.
Yeah, I'll send you a ticket, and then we can harass that lady like we did Ariel at
No,
Disney World.
look, Roz is in the
Yes,
midst of some Marilyn Manson bullshit. Let
I
her.
did see that as well. Yeah, that's not good. She should have known better. Anywho, we are out on the authority. That's basically what we're saying. We don't know anything about it. You're going to do an ultra violent freaking movie about superheroes. Is this live action? Is this a cartoon? And again, and I don't. Did you watch what's that? Invincible or whatever? Again, if you're going to do a
Yeah, I
cartoon
did.
version of this, so if you're doing that, tell me it's going to be better than Invincible. You're not going to be
Yeah.
able to tell me that because Invincible is really, really good.
Before
So
we,
that becomes
I need a full timeout
okay. I got you.
because according to Wikipedia, the next topic up does not merit conversation because it includes a character, and in as much as James Gunn has demonstrated his love for the genre and, as we
And
said,
that character
commitment across like the different media and a bump to the comic book industry, he said the words,
yes.
Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin.
Yeah.
I
The
can't
next,
fuck with this.
yeah, the next project up is The Brave and the Bold. Let's take it from a different angle because there are various ones. Okay, this is not going to be a cartoon. This is going to be a live action. And this is where I think that they're making a massive mistake. Okay. So now we're still going to have Joker 2 and the Batman 2 and what they're calling the Elseworlds. So now where you're like, oh, okay, we're going to streamline this stuff and have this is what we're doing, but you're still having these side mission movies. That's a massive mistake. Because even though these do exist in an Elseworld, people don't.
Yeah, you
The
can't have
people that,
you can't have them both. They either have to be
yeah,
core or
yeah,
else, but not
yeah.
both.
The people that get you to $1 billion like gross worldwide aren't going to be able to determine the difference between these two. Like I just seen a Batman movie. What? why is it not freaking the freaking dude from them vampire movies? I don't like this, and then they're out.
Yeah.
So you can't do this. Like this is a mistake, and I don't understand why. I mean, it, I release those other two movies, Joker 2 and the Batman 2, and then that's it. Like just close the door on that universe. Just do it, and
Mhm.
then just go from here. But yes, the Brave and the Bold, any story with Damian Wayans. Although again, as I said before we started recording earlier, they do have the Super Sons movie on HBO Max right now. He is a main character in that. He's
Oh, you
annoying as
didn't tell
hell.
me that. Oh, I'm
Oh
for sure
yeah,
not watching that.
come
Fuck
on,
him.
son.
No, I am not watching that.
It's the character is awful. Don't I'm not. I will never dispute that. The character is awful. The characterization, the presentation of that character in every form of media is fucking awful.
Yeah,
Every single one.
I can't watch like there's all these Teen Titans movies and I
Oh
got to
yeah,
check
that they
like
put
which
him in.
Robin is it? No.
Yeah. Nope.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yeah. I agree. I
And like
agree.
it's like look, I get it. Like in the 60s there was a dude in tight green panties who said like holy whatever, Batman. Robin is not a bad character because of that. That Robin was
Yeah.
that Robin, but
Yeah.
Robin is a great character and
Yes.
and
Making him an assassin raised by his freaking grandfather, who was Batman's greatest villain, one of his greatest. It, everything about the character is problematic. The presentation is problematic about a 13-year-old that's an assassin that, but he's also powerless too, which makes it like, well, it's just derivative of Batman at this point as well, but littler. Yeah, I get it. He's terrible. I get what you're saying. Him trying to pump him up is that way too, but people are going to be like, oh, it's Batman and Robin, and they see this version of Robin, they're like, what the hell is this? Like, why
like
is he talking like
why
that?
does Robin have to put up with this pussy Batman? Why don't
Yes.
you just go like kill villains on his own?
Yes, exactly. Why is he under the foot of his father?
And the
Yeah,
irony is like if you like you get the Red Hood, like if you
yeah.
want like a dark Robin, like you already have like just
You
you
could.
have the
Why
Red
you
Hood.
can't do Brave and the Bold with Batman and Nightwing?
Yeah, yeah.
Seriously, you haven't given us a Nightwing at all in a
Well,
movie.
it's on the mature channel. It's actually a
Yeah.
porno. They didn't announce the porn line. Like they are covering all media. And
Yeah, yeah,
Nightwing and Starfire is on like a
yeah.
different channel.
Nice. Yeah. Let's get that subscribe button. Anyway, so yeah, again,
Rate, review, and spank. What?
yeah,
No, sorry.
exactly. But yeah, I again, you know me. I've been here for a long time talking about this. Batman, anything for me is an absolute no. Like I can't. We do not need another
Yeah,
Batman movie, another actor, another movie. It's
yeah.
been
I
done. He should only appear in team ups at this point,
yeah.
and
I
as
mean,
well
I
as
can't disagree. And I think the irony is like the entirety of the Justice League and JLU is to show how awesome Batman is.
yeah,
But it's in that it's on the backdrop of everybody else. It's
yeah.
but yeah, I mean,
And God, I mean, we talk about how, oh man, there's too many X books, there's too many Spider-Man books. I mean, Batman destroys all of that. He
mhm,
has so many freaking monthly books between solos and other people that he's teamed up with on top of the team book that he's in. Probably in 20 books a month. It's enough. It is enough. I just cannot. And he is I'll rant here. He is the incel hero, man. Like the people that subscribe to being Batman
yeah,
as their favorite hero are always problematic, folks.
yeah.
Always. He's just every freaking white superhero dude,
Batman is
loving
the
dude
Punisher
person.
as
Yes. I mean,
yeah,
he's just that. Oh, he's everything that they. Oh, he's rich. He gets bitches. Like he don't have any powers, but he can fuck everybody up. He beats up nigger. Like he's so problematic, and I just can't. Like I cannot. But
so
I
we
know
had
why
a
people
black
like it.
Captain America. Do we ever get a black Batman?
Hell no. Ain't never happening, man.
I'm the knight, but I'm still white.
Yeah, exactly. They ain't doing that shit. They're like, look, y'all done gone too far with this shit. We ain't doing that. So no. All right. Next up, Supergirl. And the world of tomorrow. Uh, okay.
And
I
well, so the one thing is like this is based on a new like a 2021, 2022 comic book. So
Mm,
from that perspective, like, so I have no idea. The only thing I know about Supergirl is she was on a classic cover where she was dead and
yeah,
Superman was holding her up. But
yeah,
again, if this was a recent story and they're going to immediately translate it to the screen, great.
yeah, yeah.
Bring the modern storytelling to a larger audience. Great.
And this is written by Tom King. I believe he's an Australian fella. I interviewed him at MegaCon a couple of years ago, and I mean, and no, he'll never hear this, but like, talk about okay. So you go to interview creators at cons, and you've been to cons before, and they're usually sitting there by themselves, or they have a handler with them that is there to like either keep them company or put the book in front of them, sign it, and then keep moving on or whatever. So his handler was there, and I'm like, hey, I got media press for this, blah 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 blah. Can I talk to him? And the person like kind of shooed me off, and he was, and I'm not gonna do a fake Australian accent, but he was like, absolutely not. Get over here. I'll give you whatever you want. And,
Mm,
and he let me, freaking talk to him for, 5 to 7 minutes or whatever about whatever he was working on at the time. And, it couldn't have been any nicer. So this,
that's
when I
awesome.
found out that when I found out that he wrote that, I was like, oh, I'll definitely go and read it because, of that experience talking to him. So yeah, I have no, I mean, look, we got what, Helen Slater, was that the super
Yeah.
girl that we got in the
Yeah.
80s or whatever? You cannot get any worse than that. Like, there's no way you could bottom out there. Not a chance. So, who, by the way, turned into a massive trumper, by the way.
Oh, god
And
damn it.
yeah, they always do. So, it, yeah, you can't bottom out. There's no way you can bottom out there.
And
So
that
yeah,
and
go
that
for it.
show was not the show was not bad. It was better on CBS before it went to the
Oh,
WB.
oh yeah, before it went to the W. Oh no, yeah, we were watching that for
Yeah.
sure.
But the
Yeah, that was a good
challenge for
show.
Supergirl is Superman.
Hmm. Yeah. And if you're gonna keep an Elseworld, this is your Elseworld character because you're putting Supergirl in a world where there is a Superman.
Mhm.
That becomes a problem. But if you have this in an Elseworld, like yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. But yeah, yeah. I mean, again, I'm gonna read that book. I'm kind of interested in seeing and reading that book. And again, like you said, hey, if that sparks interest in the comic book part of it, that's fine. And again, we're the Marvel hacks. DCWB definitely cares more about the IPs and comic books than Marvel does at this
Mhm.
point, or Disney. Disney could give a
They made
fuck about
fucking
them
they
comic
made
books.
shirts and graphics and everything else where they fucking remade the
Yeah,
Secret Wars graphics with people that are not X-Men.
yeah, yeah.
No,
No, yeah.
because they
This
didn't control it at the time. That is some bullshit.
correct. They could care less about
Marvel
these comic
fucking
books.
up.
Yeah, my hold on. Okay, it was a side brother topic. We're getting close to my hour time limit. That's fine. Um, so I go back and listen to our Chappelle show Field of 64 the other day. That skit didn't make it either. I
Yeah.
think well, maybe it wasn't a skit. Maybe it was like just an in between.
Mm.
Like in between. Like maybe it wasn't an actual skit, but yeah, Carter fucking up.
Mm.
So, oh, that's a great bit. Anyway, all right, the last movie, y'all. And if shit, if what was it? Uh, was it Bridget Bardot?
Oh, no,
What
Adrienne
was
Barbeau.
Adrian Barbeau? If she ain't in it, if she did, she probably
I
all right.
think she's still alive.
Let me tell you something, man. I'm gonna keep this PG. There was parts of that movie I was like, I'll be back. Because that is Swamp Thing, right?
Yeah,
That
she
movie.
was in
Okay,
Swamp Thing. She is
okay.
still alive. She was also in Carnival, which was an
Whoa, that was
HBO
recent.
show that got
Yeah.
canceled way too soon.
Oh,
Although
okay.
it was confusing as fuck. They could have told that story a little more concisely.
All right.
But yes, you are absolutely right. Um, the
Yeah.
the one thing here I don't necessarily get is I think Swamp Thing, and I think this is how he's traditionally been used, but maybe I'm wrong, is more better as like almost that anthology Marvel 2-in-1 type
Hmm.
backdrop as
Yeah.
opposed to Swamp Thing for Swamp Thing's sake.
Hmm.
So I would I would be I would look at this more as a potential TV series, but again,
Mhm.
I maybe I'm just conflating all that with Man Thing, and I don't know what I'm talking about. But
That's where I get confused too with those two characters or whatever. But yeah, like again, okay, it's gods and monsters. That's their theme, right?
mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have to have some monsters. That's fine. But God, he has to be limited into where you can have him and then move him because of his, his swamp thinginess.
Swampiness, yeah.
Yeah, like you can't, like, where are you going to move him out? So that means you're going to have to bring, if he's a hero. So who the hell is he fighting? Cops? Because, like, I mean,
Swamp
honestly,
cops.
yeah, exactly. So what are you, who is because if I'm assuming you're making him babyface. Okay, so who's he fighting? What's that Batman villain? Was the a
Oh,
crocodile
Killer
dude?
Croc.
Killer Croc? Is that
Yep.
it? Yeah, so it's going to be something in that realm
Swamp
because
Killer Croc and Swamp Cops.
yeah,
Oh,
and because it's gonna have to be something as goofy as that. It's I get gods and monsters. Okay, I get it. Like I understand what you're doing, but is this
it's
cartoon?
Gunn
Is
has
this
described
live
it as a
action?
very dark horror story,
Hmm. Okay.
which will almost certainly have dick and fart jokes in it. So we'll see how
Yeah,
that goes.
yeah. I'm I'm going to assume, but I'm probably wrong, that he understands that you can't do that for every character.
Yeah. Well,
But
we'll
I would
see.
also say that the Wakiti dude would also probably not do that with every character. But
You would be wrong.
yeah, so but he's also not in charge of the whole thing, and so you would think that there's a level of responsibility that comes with that to understand that look, we have to paint within the numbers here on a lot of these characters to make sure that we are all getting in the same direction.
Mm.
But, and this is the last question I had on my notes, and again, we don't have Hutch to figure this out. What is the, forgive the pun, what is the end game here? What is the story? It has to be Crisis, right? Like, there's no other story that encompasses the entire DC universe that would make sense to introduce all these characters if it's not Crisis, right?
No, I I think they're actually trying to. So obviously, I don't know, but I think they're actually trying to sort of draw down the chaos that
Mm-hmm.
has been induced by the lack of a creative direction in order to just sort of establish the world and be able to tell stories in that world. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know that there is a convergence in an end game. I think it's we need to establish a an appetite for these kind of stories at this level to generate this level of interest and this level of revenue.
Mm-hmm. I hear you, but something that we've talked about for years on this podcast is the the WB Discovery people are going to want money.
Yeah.
What's going
Well,
to make us the most money? Like as I'm flipping through these, okay, this is great. You got Swamp Thing. You brought back Adrian Barbeau. The producer excused himself to the bathroom again. Like all those things are checking off the list. But where's the money?
well, look at
Where
what they
is the
did
money?
with the CW. Um they had Arrow. All right,
Hmm.
people watch that. How about the Flash? Oh, all right, y'all watch that.
Hmm.
So they just keep adding.
Right. Yeah.
So
And
I honestly
diluting.
think it's to establish the properties. And so what we don't know is how many of these are going to stick, how many of these will be one-offs, and how many of these become the basis for a franchise. You know,
Hmm.
are we going to get Creature Commandos 2 Electric Boogaloo? Are
Yeah.
we going to get Paradise Lost 2 Electric Boogaloo? Are we going to
Correct.
get Booster Gold? Are we
Two.
going to get Booster Gold Goes to Paradise?
Oh
That'll be
God.
on the other the
Yeah,
streaming,
it's
the
that other stream.
pay-per-view
Yeah.
streaming
I.
service.
Ooh.
Are we gonna get
Yeah.
Waller meets the Creature Command?
Hmm. Where's the
So
crossover? Yeah.
it's not clear to me that there's each of these is a product line moving forward so much as it is just, hey, we're gonna make 5 shows and 5 movies a year, and you're gonna
Yeah.
pay us for it.
I can't. I I can't imagine that some executive at the WB Discovery was not like, Endgame made a
Mm-hmm.
$2 billion.
Mm-hmm.
We want that.
Right.
How are you getting us from there to that 2 billion?
Right. Like Captain America First Avenger at 600 million or whatever was only useful because it got us to 2 billion. What's getting
Correct.
us to 2
Yeah,
billion?
what's getting us there? That's what we need to know. And I can't imagine, like I said, as soon as you get freaking, pick whatever phase one movie that you thought was going to end the whole thing, which aren't really any of them because they had built up such a goodwill. But as soon as freaking whatever movie doesn't perform to their expectations,
Mm-hmm.
and again, there's going to be a lot of pressure on that Superman movie because it's the most important IP. As soon as that movie, oh shit, it only did friggin' 600 million and what worldwide or whatever. All of this shit is off the table. Every
Mm-hmm.
single thing.
Yeah.
Like it's completely knocking the chessboard and all the pieces over because, well, y'all messed it up. And now we're Marvel Comics. Reset, reset, reset. And
Yeah.
at this point, I don't think I don't think DC has another reset in it. Like I think they're like, you know what, we're done.
Do you think
Sell that
James
shit to
Gunn
Disney.
was do you think James Gunn was savvy enough to like hedge against that in whatever contract he has? Like, I will do this if you give me 5 years. Like,
Yeah.
we are not going to turn this around in 6 months. We're going to
Hmm.
turn this around in 3 years.
Yeah. This
And
is
yeah,
Bischoff on Monday Nitro. Yes, go ahead.
exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, so you can't argue that he cares about this
Hmm.
from everything that's been exhibited. So hopefully there are some controls built in to where like the rug can't be pulled out. But I agree with you. Like if this there is no revector from this because I think the thing we've been saying is like none of this goes together. And we just went through like 10 projects that don't clearly go
Yeah.
together,
Exactly.
but it's at
Yeah.
least under the same sort of creative umbrella. And I don't think
Hmm.
it has to be telling all the same story if it can at least build the same universe. I mean, essentially what they're trying to do is just migrate the DC universe to TV and to
Hmm.
movies and to be
Right.
able to tell the same span of stories in all those media. And is WB going to sustain that?
Yeah.
Unless the
That's a whole nother
yeah,
story.
unless the
Yes.
merger and the whatever they are is has been the recognition of that, and that's how they're going to do it going forward, which is not clear. But yeah,
Hmm. Okay. So that's the next question, and it's the final one. As we're getting up to our hour. Is it too much? Should we have shrunk this down? Not announcing all these projects. This is something that they've done in the past, and shit didn't happen.
mm-hmm.
Shrink it down to, again, we've talked about this before. You have the three most recognizable IPs in the world, and you fucked it up
Yeah,
with Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman. You completely screwed it up. Is trying to build out
right.
from Swamp Thing, Creature
Yeah.
Commandos, and all these other folks to get to your ones that you already know that are there. Is it too much?
It certainly would behoove somebody to acknowledge, like, we know we have promised you this before, but this time we mean it, and this
Yeah.
is why we mean it.
Right. Yeah. That we're being overtly ambitious, but trust us, there is a end
Mm-hmm.
game in this. I can't imagine. Like I said, I cannot imagine that there is not an executive somewhere twiddling his freaking mustache.
Yeah,
Like, you better get me my 2 billion, or you're gonna wind up in the
right.
freaking in the East River
You're
with
gonna end up
freaking
in the
concrete.
Snyderverse.
Yeah, it was some concrete freaking some shoes on because we need to make back
Are
whatever.
we
Because
capped at
I
60 minutes?
no, we're not. I'm just
Oh,
saying
okay.
for listener purposes. I'm saying that if this doesn't work, and I think I've made this freaking audacious prediction before. If this doesn't work, like we get to this point, like there is a world, whether it be a narrow one, where eventually this IP winds up with Disney at some point. Like I could see it. I really can.
Wow.
Like it's like, you know what? We can't do this. We could sell it to y'all for freaking however many billions of dollars and let y'all handle that headache.
I mean,
and like be
realistically, if
done
you
with it.
can't make money off a property, right, why retain it?
Yeah, like
So,
seriously, like
and
I could totally
it's not
see
like Disney, it's not like Marvel buying DC. It's Marvel
mm,
already sold out. So,
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's Disney buying it. Like just they could. You can see the freaking dancing and sugar
yeah.
plums in your head that these characters at Disney World, like
But
all this stuff, like
it's the
shows on Disney
same
Plus.
reason
Like you can
why
see it.
WCW and it's the yeah, you can't you can't bring them together because you'll kill one of them.
Uh, do you?
They
Do
will.
you?
They can't help
I
themselves.
I know. I know. I
You
know.
know you're gonna have Iron Man, but you're gonna have the amalgam universe: Iron Man fighting Green
Ah,
Lantern,
Jesus Christ.
Superman fighting Captain America or the Hulk or whatever.
Mm. Yeah.
You can't
And
help it.
again,
It cannot help
but
themselves.
again, in a world where people were patient and not, which was not the world that we live in,
No.
building that up like the WCW versus freaking WWF whatever feud should have happened or invasion, it would work. But it didn't work because people rushed it. And then you had not good WCW wrestlers wrestling against WWF wrestlers and then jobbing them all out to begin
Mm,
with. And
yeah.
this is what would happen here too. Like,
Yep.
you know what? Freaking Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur just defeated Wonder Woman. The fuck? How
Yeah.
did that happen?
It
Oh
did.
my god, I can't believe it. So anyway, all right, so yeah, I, more than anything, I'm hopeful, which is the worst thing that you could be in these types of situations.
I think the one thing we've been concerned about is they would, and this is what they've tried to do seemingly along the way, is just do what Marvel did.
Yeah,
And this isn't strictly that. So
mhm,
let's see what happens.
yeah. The counter argument of that is Marvel did it very successfully. Maybe we should copy that. But again, using a wrestling reference, when WCW tried to copy that, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Like it didn't. Like
If
it completely folded because that's people didn't need that. That was
yeah.
exclusively something that only the WWF could do.
If
So
all they can
find your
do is
lane.
pull off something that's going to come off derivative, I am
Right.
going to claim that's not a win,
Yeah.
no matter how
Exactly.
much money it makes.
Right. So damn. All right. All right, y'all. So this is that could cover all of our DC talk pretty much for
Ooh.
2023. And the funny thing is, all the shit we talked about, none of this shit will happen this year. None of it. The only thing that's gonna come out this year is Shazam, like next month.
All the
Two,
stuff that's on the books.
yes, Shazam 2 and The Flash, which I have no intention of seeing. Like I might see. I was planning on seeing Shazam 2 before Zach Lee turned into a terrible person. So that's probably off the wall. I'm not seeing that movie with The Flash. I refuse to see that with that criminal that terrorized everybody that possibly could. I can't even believe they're releasing that movie because he certainly won't. They won't certainly be able to promote it. So
Yeah.
we'll see you next year in 2024 when maybe some of this stuff comes out. Maybe. So, all right. You may find this podcast on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher. We won't be out in 2024. We will be right back in the next week or so with all of our Marvel hacky stuff. So, as the producer of this podcast, I'm signing off. Sign off, brother Beavis.
I think that was as fair as a DC podcast from the
I
Marvel
agree.
hacks as you're going to get.
Yes,
I think we were very
I
diplomatic
agree.
here.
Hey, yes, again, Hutch, we miss you. Sam, and we definitely miss you because I know you done read all of this shit. And you could have definitely offered something to give us some better hope to maybe not be. But I don't even think we were negative.
They might be less optimistic because they
Yeah,
actually
because they've
like this
read it. Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah, but I don't even think we were negative. It's just like
No.
just don't hurt me again. That's
Yeah.
basically it. Just don't hurt me again. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all on the other side. Peace,
See you.
everybody.